Been on social media for the past couple of days, you probably would have seen this little doozy from Ubisoft. So, turns out they've managed to insult the Japanese once again. It's becoming a bit of a regular occurrence now, isn't it? So, what we can see here is Ubisoft has been absolutely trashed on X after debuting new collectibles. So, this time, it's not about obviously the characters, the DEI crap that people have been harping on about for a long time. It's actually about this little gate figure just here. So, for those who are unaware, the only instance in Japanese or Japan in general right now of a half a torii gate being standing up somewhere of significance is actually in Nagasaki. So, they use this gate as a memorial for the Nagasaki atomic bombing back at the end of World War II. So this has a great deal of significance to the Japanese. Obviously, many lives were lost when the bomb fell on Nagasaki. And regardless of how you feel about which side was fighting or which side of the war at that point in time, the fact of the matter remains that this completely desolated the city, wiped out a huge amount of the population, and it's still a really sore point for the Japanese even to this day. So for Ubisoft to feature this in a toy collection is ridiculous. Like, what are these guys doing? They've been doing this stuff over and over and over again. It wasn't, well, I mean, it was only just recently, a few months ago, where people in Japan were putting the idea to the national diet of bringing up Ubisoft, the fact that they're using Yasuke as a samurai. Now, of course, Ubisoft basically went back and said, well, this is historical accuracy. Yasuke was a samurai. And of course, the guy they were using as a source, as many of you probably already know, turned out to be an author who made it up, who was living in Japan, who edited his own Wikipedia page to try and make up a fake story that Yasuke was indeed a samurai appointed by Nobunaga. Now, there's no real argument that he was a retainer and that he did spend some time in Nobunaga's service, but to point him out as a samurai was ridiculous, and now we've got this on top of it, which is basically an insult to a national memorial, which is just crazy. I've seen a few other things on a few other content creators who have pointed out that they've also used religious symbols that go against Japanese law, that you can't use them in any form of entertainment media. And Ubisoft have done that as well in some of their trailers, which is just crazy. So, and it's a little surprise now that they've actually cancelled their online appearance at the Tokyo Game Show, as reported by InsiderGaming.com the other day. Basically, Ubisoft didn't really give a direct reason other than to say that the decision was made due to various circumstances. Various circumstances could mean anything, but the fact that this game is going to get completely shat on and hated on in Japan, and now with this whole toy line with the Torii Gate and people getting really upset in Japan about this, is little wonder that they've decided to just skip Japan altogether at the Tokyo Game Show. And not just that, but they've cancelled other online previews of Assassin's Creed altogether, and we now know why. So Assassin's Creed Shadows is now delayed until the 14th of February. As you can see here, basically the letter to the players says, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a dream project for us. Finally bringing the series to feudal Japan with many features developed with our community in mind, such as parkour or the renewed stealth, brought by new technology, all set in a beautiful and immersive world. Well, the immersion kind of breaks when you have a African samurai with hip-hop music for his fighting, so I'm not really sure how this part came to fruition or why I thought this would be a good statement, but let's continue on. This is an ambitious addition to the franchise, a rich experience that can be lived through the eyes of two unique protagonists. But we realise that we need more time to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. As such, we've made the decision to postpone the release date to February 14, Valentine's Day actually, 2025, the game will release on a broad range of platforms, including Steam at launch. Additionally, pre-orders will be refunded, and all future pre-orders will be granted the first expansion for free. Now, this is probably a really key point of the letter. Pre-orders will be refunded. So there was a news that came out not too long ago that the pre-orders in the USA were just absolutely abysmal. There was an insider report saying that the pre-orders had amounted to less than one copy per store for, I believe it was GameStop, which is crazy. So they would not be refunding these if pre-orders were high. Pre-orders are clearly abysmally low. We've seen Ubisoft share price absolutely plunge in recent times, so this is obviously giving them a bit more time so they can gear up the offering and try and recoup some of the money that they are absolutely going to lose when this game launches. Like, it's just crazy. We understand that this decision will come as disappointing news, especially to those who have been waiting patiently for an Assassin's Creed game inspired by feudal Japan. Yes, people have been waiting for an Assassin's Creed game inspired by feudal Japan. They weren't expecting to play Yasuko as the main protagonist. Nobody was expected that. Nobody wanted rap or hip hop music when you try to fight. Nobody wanted to be fighting in public. It's an Assassin's Creed game. You need to be stealthy, not a huge black guy roaming around the streets carving up locals with a knife, with a huge sword. Like, is this Assassin's Creed, or is this something else altogether? But we sincerely believe that this is in the best interest of the game and ultimately your experience as a player. The best interest of the game would be completely to change the main protagonist or just throw it in the bin altogether. Nobody's going to buy this. Well, some people are going to buy it, but Ubisoft is going to lose money on this, guaranteed. I can't see them actually making a profit off this game, and with all the other recent AAA absolute flops that they've had recently with Pirate game, Skull and Bones, and of course, Star Wars Outlaws recently as well, being an absolute horrendous experience. There's not a lot of faith in Ubisoft to deliver an actually prime gaming experience, and this just has bad news after bad news after bad news constantly coming out about it. So it's just crazy. Rest assured, we are looking forward to the moment you'll embark on a memorable adventure with Noe and Yasuko. Until then, we thank you for your ongoing support. I can't tell you how much this game is going to absolutely be dead on arrival. Like, there are so many people who just do not want this, do not want it, what Ubisoft is trying to project onto players, and they've just insulted Japan constantly with the main protagonist, for starters, disrespecting history, and now the whole Torigate thing as well. This is just going to be dead. Like, hopefully Ubisoft as a company will be dead soon as well, looking at their share price. But this is what happens when people in the West consult gaming narrative companies who aren't familiar with the culture of a game that they're trying to represent. And look, if this was a game based on Eastern or Western Europe, there wouldn't be anywhere near the pushback, even if the protagonist didn't really fit with the scene. I mean, we can only look at stuff like, God of War Ragnarok with one of the, it's got a black character in there, which doesn't make any sense in Norse mythology, but, there's a little bit of a stink, but most people don't really care. But Japanese are a very prideful nation. They have a really strong sense of nationalism, and basically insulting their culture in this way, whether you agree with a lot of things that go on in their country, and their culture is far from perfect, obviously, but insulting a country like this is, and with the previous examples that we've already seen, because you're consulting narrative companies and these games are being developed by people who are making a game that they think is representative of what these people want, but they've consulted all the wrong people. Well, it's just crazy to me. Why would you do it? You've spent so much money, just do it properly. There's estimated up to 3,000 people have worked on this game, and nobody can tell you that you probably shouldn't be putting Origate, a half-destroyed one that is a national monument to an atomic bombing that's still raw in a lot of people's hearts inside your, as a toy. You're definitely consulting the wrong people. So massive L for Ubisoft. It just gets worse. This game's going to be a disaster. How long do they have left? Who knows? What are your thoughts? Do you think Ubisoft's in trouble? Do you think they'll get over this? Do you think the majority of gamers even really care? Or is it just a bit of social, outrage on social media that doesn't really affect the majority? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, thumbs up and a subscribe would be appreciated. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.